Welcome to Keep Trucking Personal, where we invite you to explore the heart and soul of our company, Kivi Brothers Trucking. Through engaging storytelling, insightful market updates, and vibrant energy, our podcast reflects our culture, values, and achievements. Whether you're a team member or industry enthusiast, join us to build connections, foster growth, and inspire excellence. Discover why we're more than just a company. We're a community, a catalyst for positive change, and a home for those aspiring to be part of something extraordinary. The pre-trip is complete and engines ready. We're set to hit the road on the Keep Trucking Personal podcast. Let's go.
Hey, welcome back to Keep Trucking Personal. My name is Tyler Kivi, and I am your host. I'm excited for this week's episode because it really hits home on a lot of the things that we talk about week after week, and I'll tell you why soon, but there's a couple other things that we should talk about that are very important for any truck driver that is going to be traveling really anywhere in the United States between August 24th and August 30th, and that's the CVSA DOT Brake Week. Happens every year. It's kind of just like the safety blitz that we had, a couple months back. You are going to see extra DOT enforcement out on the road, and they're going to be looking specifically at your brakes, your brake shoes, your brake drums, your brake lines, your S-cams, your slack adjusters, anything to do with brakes. That's the primary focus. Now, as we know, anytime you get inspected, that's just opening the door for what they can find. They can find anything. They could be looking at your brakes and realize that you have a loose strap or a loose chain. Those all bring on deeper inspections, a deeper level, right? So level 3, you're just getting that walk around, and you can go from a level 3, which is a quick observation, or level 3 and level 2, which is observation and paperwork. And you can easily be put into a level 1 because they found something or they can hear air leaking. So this is your opportunity to get prepared, do the due diligence, and make sure that you're doing extra pre-trips. Spend an extra 5 minutes, spend an extra 10 minutes. It's not a lot of time, but has a lot of opportunity to set you up. And 8.7% of the vehicles that were inspected last year were put out of service for brake issues. So even though that sounds small, it's nearly 1 out of every 10 trucks is going through the scale or going through an inspection and getting put out of service. It's kind of alarming if you think about it. That could be you. So passing inspections this brake week is not just the goal. It's about protecting lives, protecting your paycheck, because remember, a clean inspection brings you more money. And it's about your reputation. I want you to be proud. I want you to be able to say that you had a clean inspection with no violations during a DOT CVSA brake check. That's huge. And it's kind of going to tie into this next story that I'm going to tell here. And it's more focused on, are you ready when they call? And this is the same concept as when you get DOT. You never know exactly when you're going to get pulled into the scale or get pulled over just on a roadside. But are you ready when they do? And here's a story that happened just this last weekend. Friday night, when most of our planning is already set for the weekend and coming into Monday, we received a call that there had been a train derailment. And this train derailment needed support of trucks immediately. Technically, it was an emergency, right? They needed trucks ASAP. Those are always hard. They're exciting, but they're hard because as you define a network and you start to build density within a company with freight, I'm talking about, you put these plans together, you layer in hours of service and the driver's mental plan, and they're prepared for this. And then you get whiplash. And this is exciting whiplash, but a 400-mile run that needs to load within 2 hours of that phone call. And it wasn't just one truck. It was as many trucks as we could find. Talk about some pressure. But we took advantage of that, and we got together immediately on the back end. So, kind of walking through that plan, we take the phone call, we validate it, make sure that it's legit. Believe it or not, there's a lot of fraudulent things going on in this industry, and you have to do your due diligence because you can put a lot of time and effort into something that's phony, and yeah, you get the point. So we went through, validated that, made sure it's legitimate. Then we worked immediately on, okay, what availability do we have? What plans can we delay? What plans can we put on ice and bring these drivers into the mix to help out with this emergency derailment? 400 miles, it's not an easy feat. And you're talking about at night, the hardest time to run if you're not used to that. So you have to make sure that this driver's understanding what needs to be done. Their safety and compliance is there, and they're ready for the mission. And are you ready? And it was kind of a challenge. There's a litmus test for us as an organization. And this is kind of what we thrive on, but this was truly the test of all tests. Get everybody together on the back end. We start strategizing. We start putting trucks and drivers together, and even maintenance issues, right? We have drivers with maintenance issues on their truck. What spare trucks can we use? How can we, what can we do to pivot this? Is this load able to be parked? What's the timeline? Can we delay the ETA on that? Go through it, then communicate with the customer to make sure that it's still fluid and it's happening, and then also give ETAs when they're going to be able to start loading, because now it's dark and you're working up against midnight. And how fast can you have it done? And are these trucks loaded and rolling? When are they going to be there? Here's the contact information for each driver. Here's where to stage, and keep them in the know of everything, because these change. Train derailments or any emergency type service, everything changes snap of finger. It can be wide open, go, 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 go. And one snap of finger, it's done. It's cut off. And so you have to be very close to what the situation is, but keep everybody updated. And then you work through all of that, and we had not even had it in our system yet. So as we do everything through a disciplined manner, which is tendering it through our dispatch system and into your ELD, not even able to do that, right? So the response side it was kind of not common, but you kind of work the opposite way, right? You dispatch, get it going, get everybody the pertinent information, and then you go back and get the system caught up and bring everything up, with the truck trailer pairing and the driver and all of that and such. So it was a good opportunity. I think I'm really proud of our team and how we stepped up. Our drivers get the opportunity to make some really good money. Doesn't matter if they're a cents per mile driver, percentage driver, they all get paid extremely well in this manner. And talk about a weekend booster. They weren't ready for it. I remember some of the calls asking the driver, hey, this is the circumstance. Are you able to provide what they're asking? And, as any driver does often, right? And what's it going to pay? What's this going to pay me? And when you tell them, I had one driver, I had told him to pay, and it was like there wasn't even a deciding timeline. It was snap. Okay, I'm on it. Let's go. Where's the address? What am I doing? Because it was exciting. Money is what this game's all about, but reputation is where this flourishes for the long play. And let me tell you all, we showed up. We did it right. 400 miles, get it done, get multiple trucks, not one, not two, not 10, more than that, and keep them coming. Keep doing what you're doing. And as you can assume, that's not just a 45-minute work, right? It had me excited. It was hard to go to sleep after all of that, after midnight, and you've been doing all of this and communicating with everybody. And then you're back at it early in the morning again, because this is an emergency. So you have to be available, and getting them set up and letting our drivers know that this is the unique things that we do. This is the difference between just a standard open deck type carrier, a standard van carrier. You have opportunities at this company to get involved in some very unique things. And at the expense of a derailment, nobody wants to see that. Everybody wants safety, and we want everybody to be safe. Nobody was hurt in this derailment, which is the good news. It's just unfortunate that it had happened. But it's good for those railroad companies to know they have support of trucking companies like ourselves, that when we say we're going to commit to it, we show up and we follow through. And when I say commit, Tyler Kivi, our CEO, was out in a truck Saturday morning helping stage loads and get things prepared. Michael Hansen, a VP of operations, out in the truck helping make sure everything is loaded and secured and staged and ready for our drivers. And then you continue to go on the back end, and all of the people that put the effort in Cody and Sam, Caitlin, Dakota, the list goes on and on. So you can see how a simple, in concept, right? It's what we do, A to B, load and deliver, how a simple emergency can really be very complex in its nature of just scheduling and getting it done and making sure that everyone understands. So that's my story that I wanted to tie right back to this DOT break week check that's coming up, because you never know when they're going to call. You never know when they're going to call. And that pressure, that urgency, and that no margin for error, when it shows up, you have to be ready. And that's the culture and that's the professionalism that we want to build at Kivi Brothers Trucking. And I really think that's what the industry needs to have as well. You should have that loyalty to the industry that we're here to serve, and we are very important to the economy, to the safety of local cities, counties, and in the point in case of this derailment, right? Like, we're there to support. Our drivers have families. Our drivers have home time. Many of those drivers got up, came out of their home, went on this mission, and then as a derailment works is you get standby. Standby is like the other word. There's a hurry up and wait and then standby. And those two are like synonyms. They're right there. It feels so opposite when you get everybody riled up. You get everyone to arrive at the job site 400 miles away, right? And they're thinking like, come on, unload me. This stuff is hot commodity. Nope, it's staged. Get these trucks staged over here. This is material that we're going to need. We know we're going to need it. That's why we ordered it, but we're not ready for it yet. And, that's once again in this industry, very hard to understand mentally, right? Because you're like, why was this 911 if you don't need it right away? But that's, out of our control. That's what we do, is show up, communicate well, make sure our customer knows that we have their back. I got some very good feedback on our drivers and our response time. And it was, for me, not only what we're prepared for, but it's a good test. These are like tests that you want to run and run often. You hope they come, right? In this economy, these are the type of things that trucking companies need. They need to be injected with some unique freight, some unique opportunities to keep momentum going. And that's what we appreciate about this opportunity. And because most trucking companies would fail, and if we can outperform just at the communication, our drivers and our level of professionalism there in our office is very tied into what is going on. We've already separated ourselves from the pack, friends. Like, we are able to be, I love the concept of saying we are the Navy SEALs of trucking. There's a lot of companies that do a lot of really cool things that I wish to do someday. And when I talk on that level, it's multi-axle, like extreme multi-axle. When you get into the grossing 1 million pounds, it's not something that we do now. Everyone has a dream and a goal, right? And that's where we want to get. So I look up to a lot of companies, but there's a lot of companies that are not prepared to handle this. Do not entertain this type of work. Do not entertain taking a phone call late in the evening and putting all that work in and getting everybody going. Because like I said, this is an industry and we care about our drivers' families. We care about them. And that's the other side of this coin. We care about them and we want them to make money. These are good opportunities for you to make money. So if you're listening to this and you're not a driver at Kivi Brothers, these are some of the things that we do. I've been on this side with crane emergencies where something happened and there's the necessary parts for a crane need to be brought ASAP, and that's multiple loads. Or in this case, for a train derailment, and there's many pieces of material that they need and they need ASAP. That type of response, it doesn't have to be just in the Midwest. It can be anywhere, are some of the things that, we specialize in. And if you've been a driver here and you've been fortunate to jump on some of these 911 missions, it's exciting. I often think a lot of my memories and my most, vast memories of trucking are kind of that adrenaline rush, right? What was it that you did that was unique? I've seen people from when they've hauled like airplanes or helicopters, or they've done trips to Alaska, or they've been on these type of emergency opportunities. You don't forget it. And think about that. How many miles people put down? There's drivers with 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, 4 million miles. But when you look back at what they've done historically, there's a few projects, there's a few shipments that they remember and they'll never forget. And these are the type of moves that they don't forget. And I'll tell you an example of one that I was on. This was a weekend. Derailments always seem to happen. I don't know what it is, but they always seem to happen on a Friday or a Friday afternoon or the weekend when it's hard to assemble drivers. And in this instant that I went on, which was roughly 9 years ago, maybe 10 years ago, there was a derailment in Canada. And that derailment in Canada needed material brought up from the US, right? It was a weekend. Actually, it was Friday night again. It was a Friday night. This had to be loaded and brought up to Canada ASAP. We assembled a team of multiple drivers, loaded these shipments in the dark, late night, went into Canada for this derailment, went through the customs process, when all that got up into Canada. And then, like I said, there's standby time. We got on site and we waited and we waited. And we actually waited until the next day. And then the derailment had, they over ordered what they needed. And they said, hey, we don't need you guys anymore. Like, thank you for being so prompt and responsive. We don't need you. You can go back. Well, as trying to come back through customs, it's not as easy. It's easier said than done. You have to have the customs paperwork and the customs broker and all of that done. And we couldn't get it done on a weekend. So we ended up spending the weekend, Sunday in Canada, and waiting until Monday to get the customs paperwork and everything cleared so we could come back into the US. And that's something I'll never forget. I'll remember that just because of the nature of it, because of the remote area we were in, how high pressure those situations are when there's a derailment or there's those, there's a lot of safety protocols going on. There's a lot of moving pieces, and there's often usually some sort of, supervisor or foreman that's calling the shots. Those type of people are very aggressive and assertive, and it's just a high price. It feels like it's what you built up for that. It's where I'm meant to be. And like I said, the standby time is right there married with it. You're thinking, I drove all the way up into Canada in the middle of nowhere, don't even have phone service, didn't even bring food. Like, I was just go, got there and held tight. Well, fortunately, I had a bottle of water, right? Kept me plugging along. So those are the times that you have to be ready for. Those are the times that we're fortunate here at this company that our leadership gets involved and is very hands-on. And our leadership is not afraid to drive. Like I said, Derek was out in a truck. We're taking calls. We're committed. It's exciting for us. These are the things we thrive on. I like to think you don't get into trucking unless you're passionate about it. That's my personal thought. I know that's not true for some, but it is for our company. And our leadership demonstrates that over and over again. So I'm just very proud of our company, very proud of what we're able to do. I know that if you're a member here, I'm proud of you. We're thankful for you. Discipline is what we've worked hard to do and challenged ourselves, with, and it's not doing what just needs to be done. It's doing what needs to be done even when you don't feel like it. And like I said, that was one of them circumstances that they're exciting, they're nerve-wracking. You don't know in any split second if it's going to cancel or if it's going to back out, and you have to be ready for it. Same is true with Brake Safety Week. This isn't just a checks box, my friends. This is going to be proof that you're ready for whatever the road is going to throw your way. And because in trucking, the only thing you can count on is the unexpected coming. And the question is, will you be ready? So until next time, keep trucking personal, be safe, and be ready for Brake Safety Week. Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Keep Trucking Personal. We appreciate you taking the time to explore the heart and soul of Kivi Brothers Trucking with us. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a review to let us know your thoughts. Tune in next time as we continue our journey together, diving deeper into what makes us a community, a catalyst for positive change, and a home for those who aspire to be part of something truly extraordinary. Until then, keep trucking, and we'll catch you on the next episode.